Let the hammer rain. I'm going down to the bottom. Let the hammer rain. I'm just to rain my hammer. Let the hammer rain.
Because Tavis is smart, Tavis is very strategic, and Tavis put out an article this week where he was basically talking about, apparently it looks like he's a Hillary Clinton supporter, which doesn't surprise me. I think that he's close associates with Hillary Clinton. So here's what happened with this article. So basically, Tavis, I saw it on my Facebook feed, and I was like, well, how's Tavis is trending? Like, how's Tavis trending right now? That's interesting. And basically, a student at a lecture that he was at asked him, they said, do you think that black people could be put back into slavery? Here's the thing. So he brings up the question from the student, where the student's like, hey, can we be made slaves again? Which on its surface can seem like a crazy question, but, you think about it, it's like, okay, it's a good question. But here's what really baffled me about Tavis's article. He says it's especially striking that it comes from the political party that's always lecturing about the rule of law. What's worse is that they're getting away with it. Republicans have turned this constitutional issue into a political football and suckered the White House, Democrats in Congress, and the news media into playing the game by their rules. This is a travesty of justice, etc., etc., etc. And then he says, he mentions that, oh, here we go. Republicans announced there will be no hearings, no votes, no action whatsoever until after the American people vote on a new president. So he says they have kept their word. Some Republicans are now boldly declaring that they will block Judge Garland even if Hillary Clinton's elected. Okay. All right. So obviously that's nonsense. That's crazy. Obviously we know what the Republicans are. We know what they do. But what's interesting is that Tavis then goes on. Let me read the end of the article. This is the part that I want you to really kind of think about a little bit. This is for critical thinkers only. This is, if you're on the Democrat or Republican bandwagon, this may not work so well for you. But maybe you're just looking to absorb all information. I'm a big believer in taking in all the information so I can make my own decision. Because there's too many people out here trying to control your mind with propaganda. So here's the part of the article that got my attention. He says, is it possible that the White House, the opposition party in Congress, and the news media could be cowardly complacent, too frozen by fear to actually do anything to stop their overreach, referring to the Republicans? They haven't in this situation. It's all politics, they say. Sound familiar? That's exactly what we said when Trump's campaign was just a joke. He won once and could win again. So could the Constitution be thwarted and black folk end up enslaved again? Legal scholars, of course, would find the question ludicrous and laughable. It wasn't far-fetched for the young student who pressed me at Lehigh that evening. And honestly, with the hair-raising, bone-chilling, spine-breaking, nerve-wracking path we're on right now, I shudder to think where this democracy could end up one sad day if we don't get off this low road and make our way to higher ground soon. Now, that is a very kind of elusive sort of statement. I mean, it's not a specific statement, but it's interesting in the context of the fact that he spent the whole article, half the article talking about Donald Trump and the concerns he has about Trump, and then the other part of the article talking about the issues he has with the Republicans, which backs you into the answer, the obvious solution, which is vote for Hillary Clinton, right? That's what it is. So what he's saying is vote for Hillary Clinton without saying vote for Hillary Clinton. It's like mathematics. Like if I give you one equation and one unknown, I say, if you are, let me see, if I say that x plus y plus z equals 3, and I give you x, and then I give you y, then I'm automatically giving you z. All you have to do is solve for z. And I hope that this makes sense. I might be going too deep on you, but I taught mathematics at the University of Kentucky for a couple of years, so I'm a mathematical thinker. And so effectively what they're doing is they're saying Trump sucks, the Republicans are horrible, so that leads you to vote for who? Well, obviously Hillary Clinton, right? So the reason I thought this was interesting was because the slavery question to me was an interesting question. Because if you want to know if black people can be put back into slavery, the answer is, the better question is, can black people ever escape slavery? The direct answer is that you're still in slavery right now. Did any of y'all see the 13th? Did y'all see Ava's documentary that explains clearly that the United States Constitution says right now that slavery is illegal in the United States, and that you probably have slaves in your own family? You have slaves in your own family. They just, maybe we think that it's okay because of the big loophole. The loophole is you have to be convicted of a felony. What they don't remind you of is that anybody can be convicted of a felony. If you dig enough dirt on anybody, yourself, me, your mama, anybody, and you make the laws in a certain way, you can make anybody into a felon. Anybody. So, the thing that we got to understand is that we're already in slavery. And I was stunned to see this article. I was stunned, but not stunned. Let me answer that question so I don't sound crazy. I was stunned to see that Tavis didn't address that in the article. He didn't address the slavery of prisons. He didn't address the slavery of debt. Debt slavery. We're now getting back to where we have having debtors prisons, where when you owe debts and they file something on you in court and you don't show up for court. Next thing you know, you're being charged with contempt of court, and next thing you know, you're in jail because you owe money. Or child support. Think about how many baby daddies are in jail right now because they can't pay child support, but they can't pay child support because they're in jail, right? Or the slavery that you feel from the debt that you might be buried with, maybe student loan debt or whatever. Now let me explain that. Slavery, let me explain what slavery is. Some of y'all may not even know exactly what slavery is, and I'm not going to pretend to be an expert, but let me give you my interpretation of what slavery is. Slavery is not always, it does not always show itself as you on Master's plantation where he's beating you for cutting your foot off for trying to escape and raping your wife and killing your kids. That's one kind of slavery. That was the worst slavery that's pretty much known to man that we had to endure, that our ancestors endured. But they've had other forms of slavery that were considered less severe. Slavery is pretty much a lack of freedom. Slavery is when you have to do things you don't want to do because somebody's forcing you to do it with dire consequences if you deviate from what they've told you to do. Right? Now, also slavery does not mean that the only escape is death. See, we think of slavery as a horrible condition where you have no freedom and the only escape is death. And that's not true. Slavery and freedom are a continuum. The continuum might mean on the far end, you got complete freedom. You do what you want, no consequences, whatever. The other end, you've got, complete total slavery, the kind of stuff our ancestors dealt with, where you're born into it, you die out of it, you can't get out unless you kill yourself, whatever. Or maybe you escape with dire consequences if you don't. But understand that when you talk about debt, for example, that is a form of slavery. Let's say that you're a college student, you got $100,000 in student loan debt, and they're banging down your door and threatening to take away everything if you don't pay this debt back. So you go have to take a job that you hate, and you have to go do something every day that you don't want to do because you're trying to pay this debt. Well, guess what? You're a slave. You're a slave. Corporate slavery, when you feel that that you have to get up and go to work every day because you want to be connected to this corporation, and all you've done is kind of lock yourself into having no options at all, such that the only ability you have to feed your family is to go to this corporation every day. Well, I mean, yeah, some would say that you're a slave. So somebody mentioned sharecropping. Yeah, that was a kind of slavery. So the thing is that black people were already slaves.
I got a 9-pound. Let your hammer ring. I'm gonna ring it in the bottle. Let your